All right. G'day, everybody. It is July the 11th. That sounds about right. Yep. And we're not spraying. I am sitting in the sprayer. That. If you look out in front of me, that's Dad's peas. You can see the lighter land is starting to turn. So we're probably going to have to be desiccating here in the next 10 days to 2 weeks. That means we're about 3 weeks from probably needing to harvest. Right now, not going out and spraying. We're a ways away from that yet, but not terribly far. It kind of looks like beginning of August we'll be doing peas. At least these. Mine are hanging on a little better. They've had a little more rain. These have had essentially none since May, the end of May. So we're into 6 weeks without a meaningful rain at the farm here. Well, we got a little sprinkle the other day, like a couple of tenths. Yeah, anyways, not spraying today, getting the sprayer ready. So I just want to function test everything, check for leaks. We did have a couple of leaks. One hose clamp was a bit loose, and one fitting had backed off somehow. Nothing serious. I just want to function test everything. I have noticed that there's a couple drippy tips, so that's usually a sign that the poppets are worn as well. Yeah, I figured that was the case. Let's take a look here. I have one bad solenoid that I need to change out, and it is number 19. So we'll change them. We'll get switched over to our fungicide tips. We have two options, and I'm not really sure which is the better setup. So I think right now, and it's not a big deal to switch afterwards. Like I said, I just want to make sure everything's working good. Like you can see, I've got a couple spots where I had a broken zip tie. I don't like cables hanging down, especially when the crop gets tall and say your tip dips down and then wraps up and it wants to rip stuff off. So we're switching over to the ER11008s for desiccating for now. We can always switch over to our duos. Yeah, so I like my pigtails to look like that kind of thing. Nice and short and tight, but short to the point that there's still ease of access. So the way these are, like I've got a lot of slack there despite it not hanging down. This guy looks like it's kind of installed strangely. This is the fitting that was leaking, and it had backed off. Nothing serious. This, I don't like how it's hanging down, so we'll zip him back up. Should be hooked to there. Well, actually, I know what happened is these two were not together before. They were same over here. They were spaced out, so I'll just zip it up over here. Yeah, and we'll just keep carrying on. So where are we? 15, 16. So I've got numbers every 5. I'm really surprised how well these have hung on. These labels. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Easier thing would have been to go 20 and one back. But before anybody jumps down my throat, just know that the last thing that was in this tank was Liberty, which is glufosinate. However, we filled it with we rinsed it out, and I put 200 gallons of just straight water in, and I had that recirculating through the boom. So there's probably still a little dribble of glufosinate in there, but nothing I'm terribly worried about. I'm going to be working with my bare hands. Of course you're going to fall. I keep forgetting that with this boom recirculation it behaves a little bit differently because it's essentially a continuous circuit. So I just need to close the valves and then remember to open them. But we're gonna pump this guy off. Grab my O-ring. That's my poppet. Goes in the new one. Actually, I think I'm going to change it. Seems like, not sure if you can really see, they start getting scored up on the rubber and they start leaking. Luckily, I got a bunch of them over here. So if you look, you see that's all scored up. That's going to start dripping as I'm going down the road. It should look nice and smooth and soft right on top. So that's a brand new poppet. And we got her back together. So now I got to remember to open the valves, because that'll confuse the hell out of me when things aren't working how they're supposed to. And once I get everything switched over, I'll spray a little, and then I'll come out and I'll just check. And if the tips are dripping away, they'll change out the poppets. But really, it's quite easy to change. These 5-way bodies, all you got to do is just turn them and they'll click in. Click. All right, we got everything lined up down there, cleaned up, cinched up. Pretty happy. Got kind of stupid lucky. Noticed some fresh electrical tape. There was a wire that had a real bad crack and I went and touched it and it flaked off, so it would have had a big bare spot. So I fixed that up. Now we're gonna do some spray tests. Which way is the wind coming from? Yeah, kind of southeast. I'll move ahead so that I'm just on that side of our little road here. And I'll just make sure the nozzles are all working. And then after that, I'll shut it off and see which nozzles are dripping. You know what? I'm going to do it right here. I'm spray test right here. Because it's just water. Force of habit, usually there's something in it and we want to spray right on the dirt. But it'll be fine. I'll roll ahead afterwards and see which nozzles are dripping. All right. Taking a look, that one was spitting out a little bit of foam. It's still not necessarily spraying correct. That one seems to have a little bit of air as well in the system. Or foam, probably. But everything else so far looks like it's working. We'll just go double check on those other two. That one's definitely not spraying right. It's got something there versus that didn't. Unfortunately, my little remote isn't working right, so I gotta go shut things off. Major, just a tiny little pebble wedged across the orifice of the nozzle. Just give it a done. Now we'll turn that back on. Turn that back on. Let things spray for a tiny bit. And I'm gonna shut things off and creep ahead here. Oopsie. Shut that off. I don't need it anymore. I just want to see. We leave this for 5 minutes or so. Not even. We'll be able to go and see if anything's dripping. See that one? Which is 36. That one, 25. This one looks like it was it, but it was, this guy was a little bit loose back there. That's about it. So 25 and 36 need new poppets. And I guarantee they're gonna have that little ring on them. See the ring?